Hi, Caleb with Brownells here, and in today's video we're going to be building a Glock 19 clone. With that being said, this is a project that we were doing for something else, and then I figured we would just turn on the camera and do it together. So we have detailed Glock clone build videos, so if I glance over anything or just kind of breeze past it, which I'm sure I will, go check those out. So I'll tell you about the components as we just kind of jump into it and get started. So the frame we're using is a SCT-19, and this is actually the overmold model that I can't get out the package. So the overmold model has rubber. The plastic was relief cut and then rubber was laid in it, and you can't even really tell it apart from the standard one other than feel, which is pretty cool. Not a bad setup. And this is the complete frame, and yes, it is serialized on this particular one. And these are complete, so they come with all the parts already installed. And then we're going to be putting a Brownells complete slide on top of that. Now, in theory, we could literally just take these two, put them together, and then we're done. We have a gun that you can buy both of these just like this, and only other thing you need is a magazine. But that's too easy, and we're going to do something different. All right. First thing, we do have this Magwell, and this literally is made for this frame, so it just clicks into place. So we will just click it into place. Alright, that's on there. Alright, step one was pretty easy. And I'm going to get this bag out of my way. I'm going to put an RMR HD on here in a bit. So we are also using a CMC block trigger. So I'll pull this guy out of here. And it comes just like this, ready to drop in. Nice and easy. So what we're going to do actually is just go ahead and get ready to drop this in. And I will need a punch of sorts. And I'm just going to knock all my pins out real quick here. And I'm just pushing them out, just getting them out the way. And this one's being a little bit stubborn. Let me use a little bit larger punch here. And you should never have to take these pins out with a hammer. If you do, then something is probably wrong. I say that as I can't get the pin out. So this pin here, this is the trigger pin. It's held in by the slide catch itself. So if you move that slide catch around, it will release the pin. And I'm glad it did, because I was explaining how to do it, and it would have been a shame if me explaining how to do it did not yield the results of it being done, right? So, where was I? Okay, now at this point we took our slide catch out, that just falls right out. We will lift the locking block out, and on these SCT frames, these locking blocks, they are in there pretty stiff. I'll use the trigger to just kind of push it. Pull that out. Now this comes out as an assembly, and that looks very familiar, or very similar to this one. So we'll just move the old one, and this is zip tied together. So we want it to not be zip tied because we can't put it in the gun zip tied. So I'm just going to cut that tie off. Place that neatly anywhere, and then throw a little bit of oil on that connector surface. And just drop all this back where the other one came from. just like that. Locking block goes back in exactly how it came out. This pin here can go ahead and go in that top hole. And I'm just gonna push those pins in there. Alright, so slide catch can go, again, exactly how it came out. Reverse order. Trigger pin goes in through the opposite side here. And I just use a pin to kind of line everything up as I push against the table. And then that pin is now in place. Okay, and that's all we got to do to the frame, except for this pin, because if you leave this out, then the gun may work, it just won't work properly for an extended period of time. So obviously we want to put all the pins back in. Just push it right below the surface. Alright. So now we are done with the frame. We can move on to the slide assembly. Alright, so this one here, complete Brownells slide assembly. We're going to pull our recoil spring off. We're going to pull our barrel out because we are using a Radian Ramjet. Not just any Radian Ramjet, but the bronze. I guess bronze is the color. Kind of is almost like a rose gold. We'll call it bronze. But we're going to be installing that barrel. And then the Afterburner, which is the comp that it fits to. Alright, so there it is. Here's the bit. And there is the taper screw. We'll just throw these back in the packaging. Place them neatly down there somewhere. Alright, and then I will just kind of put it together and lubricate as I go. Barrel drops in just like any other Glock barrel. And then you take the comp, the Afterburner, and press it on the front. And these are made, they're contoured specifically for the Glock factory slides. So they do look a little different. The angles don't match up perfectly with the Brownells slides. That's because our slides have such an aggressive bevel for concealed carry. But I'm okay with that. So now we just tighten the screw down. Put the recoil spring back in. Slide goes on the frame, but before we will lubricate. Alright, there we go. That flat trigger feels way different than that standard Glock trigger, but in a good way. I really like it. Alright, now all we gotta do is throw our optic on, and then we are done. Let's take off our plate screws. Take our RMR HD. screws. Alright. And then these may come with the battery installed. Yes, they do. Perfect. Okay. And then this is the battery tool because the battery is on this plate here. Alright, so I'll put what we don't need back in here. So the shorter screws with the yellow thread locker on them is what we're going to be using. And should be a T10. It is. Alright, perfect. So we'll set it on there. Just get it started by hand. And finish it off. Nice and snug. And there we go. So that is our Glock 19 build. Perfect. Okay, so if you have any questions or comments, feel free to post them down below. As always, if you need help with anything for any reason ever, feel free to give us a call on the tech line. We'll be happy to help you out. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.